Welcome to the information session to our MBA program here at Cal State San Bernardino. My name is Jessica. I'm the admissions and student engagement coordinator with Jack H. Brown. And joining me today, we have Melis, who is our graduate assistant and also a student of the MBA program, so she can share about her perspective, and also Maggie Garcia, who is our admissions coordinator for the fully online program. Welcome again, and thank you for being here. Um, since Melis is joining us and she has class shortly, I wanted her to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions and also share a little bit about what her student experience has been. Um, Melis, feel free to take it away, and then we'll open it up for questions after.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Melis. I'm an international student here at CSU San Bernardino. I'm concentrating in marketing management and supply chain management. I'm in my second year right now, so hopefully,
Hey, stop.
Nico.
I'll and hopefully I'll be graduating in May 2025. So far, I have had great experience at CSUSB, specifically MBA program. Um, all my professors and my classes were really good, and my professors were really experienced in their fields, and it taught me a lot of things. Other than that, all my classes are offered both in online and in person. So being flexible in that regard was very useful for me. I'm working as a part-time GA, graduate assistant at the MBA office as well. So finding a job on campus was easy, and it's not the easiest thing, but when you get it, it's good, and you can support yourself, and it's just good to engage with people, professors, students, and people. Apart from that, I'm also actively joining to clubs at CSUSB, and the culture, the activities, the events are pretty often. And in that regard, I also like the campus. Yeah, overall, my experience is really good, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Melis. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy, but really quickly, I did want to open it up to our participants. Do any of you guys have any questions about the student experience? In a bit, we'll be discussing the admissions and the program, but any questions about the student experience that Melis can maybe address?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Can you hear me? This is Susan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, did you when you which program did you do? Did you do the traditional MBA? I know there's
Mhm.
one for like executives.
Yeah.
Were there any online classes for the traditional MBA?
I learned traditional, and I would say my program is hybrid. So all
Okay.
my classes after 5:30, which is good for a professional person who is planning to do MBA,
Mm.
because all of my classmates are coming from their jobs at around 5:36, and then we also have online classes as well.
I see. Okay. So the only program that is completely online would be the executive one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about
Well,
that
thank you.
in a bit, but you're correct. Good question. Thank you, Susan. Any other questions?
And a little note, as you may maybe understand from my talk, I have been doing dual concentration. So this is also possible, as well as you can only choose one concentration. So
Thank
I
you,
just
Melis.
wanted that.
And on average, I know you select, Melis, I know you select your classes. On average, how many times a week do you have on-campus classes?
It really depends on my professors and their preference. but I would say twice
Twice
a
a week?
week I'm coming, and I have right now 3 courses in the semester.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say like once or twice a week. Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, Melis. I'll provide you with her contact information at the end, but for now, I'll let you go to class. But again, thank you for joining us, okay?
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I know you are praying for me to go.
Um, all right, I think, all right. I don't see any questions in the chat, so we'll go ahead and get started with the overview of the program. And then, of course, feel free to ask questions along the way. You can either, unmute yourself, or you can also, put your questions in the chat, and I'll try to be monitoring those. But we'll get started with where Cal State San Bernardino is and who we are. So for those of you that are not familiar with our location, we're located inland Southern California. We have a beautiful campus, and we're number 12 best bang for the buck in the West, according to the Washington Mutual. We're really proud of our affordability. Number 4 in the nation for social mobility, according to this U.S. News and World Report. Again, just to kind of give you a taste of what the campus entails. But the reason why there's a lot of students choosing the MBA, the Master's in Business Administration here at Cal State San Bernardino, is partly for the reasons that Melis mentioned, that our program's pretty flexible in the sense that we cater for students who are working full-time even. As a matter of fact, most of our students do work full-time. We offer evening, some weekend classes, some fully online course options, and even our fully online MBA for executives, which we'll discuss in a little bit more detail. The program itself has opportunities to study abroad. We have graduate assistantships available within the college, and you even have a dedicated student advisor who will help guide you selecting the classes each semester. This is a common practice at the undergraduate level, but most graduate programs actually don't have a dedicated student advisor, and our MBA program does have a dedicated advisor whose role specifically is to guide you in selecting the classes you need each semester. Like I mentioned also, we're one of the most affordable MBAs in our region. We'll discuss costs in a little bit. In the event that you're comparing costs, you'll find that we're one of the most affordable. And just based on cost, quality, and convenience, we really do feel that it's one of the best options worldwide, because not only is it affordable, but we have noteworthy distinctions like AACSB accreditation. We have a lot of accolades, but AACSB accreditation, for those of you that don't maybe recognize it, only 5% of the schools in the nation hold this accreditation, and our MBA program holds AACSB accreditation. So that in itself, I hope, gives you an idea of really the quality program that we offer. Now, what we require for admissions might depend on the program you're pursuing. So everyone who's interested in our program will be required to have a bachelor's degree, and it doesn't have to be in a specific background or major. You can have a bachelor's degree in any field, as long as it's accredited. And as part of the application process, in order to verify your degree, we'll ask you for transcripts. As part of the application, we'll ask for you to submit unofficial transcripts. Those are okay. Or if you graduated with us, you don't have to provide transcripts, because we'll have your records for your bachelor's degree. And what we're looking for is that you also have ideally a 3.0 GPA or higher, either cumulative or your last 60 semester units or 90 quarter units, whatever's higher. We'll calculate both GPAs. And if you don't have a 3.0 or higher, don't let that discourage you. We can still go down to even a 2.5. We'll take a holistic look at your application to see if, for example, you have a lot of experience to compensate the GPA. We can consider your application even, like I said, even if you have a 2.5 or higher. We'll also ask for you to submit one letter of recommendation. Sometimes students submit two just to be safe. And this would be from a professional recommender, so no friends or families. And the way you typically submit the recommendation letter is when you're filling out your application on Cal State Apply, which is the application portal we use, there's going to be a section that will ask for you to provide your recommender's contact information. Once you do that, we'll send them a notification that you're requesting it, and then they can submit it electronically. If they prefer to send it to us directly, we can accept that as well, whatever works best for them. We'll also ask you for your most recent resume. And this is really to look at your experience, so be as detailed as you can. If you have any leadership experience, make sure you're including that, and include the months and years in which you held each position. That'll help us determine how much experience you have. We'll also ask for you to submit a statement of purpose. So what I usually tell students, don't overthink the statement of purpose. It's a short, maybe one-page statement, 250 words, 300-word statements as to why you're pursuing the MBA program and why you feel it's going to be a good fit for you. Really what we're looking for is your grammar and to make sure that this is a good fit for you. And once you've submitted your application, we'll also schedule an application interview. Okay, so we'll require all of these items for the application. We don't require any prerequisites. Like I mentioned, you don't have to have your bachelor's degree in a specific field. We consider all degrees as long as it's from an accredited institution. And we'll also ask for all students to meet the business aptitude requirement. If you're pursuing our traditional MBA, the business aptitude requirement can be satisfied by having just one of the following. You can either have a 3.2 GPA from an AACSB accredited undergraduate business program. So for example, if you completed your bachelor's degree from Cal State San Bernardino, we're AACSB accredited. So that in itself would meet the business aptitude requirement. The other way is if you've completed in a graduate level degree, a different graduate level degree somewhere else, or if you have 2 years of professional experience, preferably in a leadership role, we can determine if you meet that based on your resume. That's why we ask that your resume is as detailed as possible. Now, if you don't have any of the top three, then we may ask for you to submit GRE or GMAT test scores, which are standardized tests that some grad schools require. Like I said, it might not be required if you have all the one of the ones I just mentioned, but we may ask for the test scores if we feel you don't meet the experience, the GPA, or have a grad level degree. Now, if you're pursuing the MBA for executives, either on campus or online, regardless, the way to satisfy the business aptitude is to meet 2 years of leadership experience. So what leadership experience is, it's overseeing other staff, overseeing a facility, or being in charge of overseeing important projects. That's what we consider professional leadership experience. Now, I'll take a quick pause here before we kind of break down the difference between the traditional and the executives MBA. But any questions here regarding the admissions requirements? Any questions?
Hi there. My name is Adrienne. How are you?
Hi, Adrienne. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Just wondering when it comes to like the professional experience, say it was in the past, maybe prior to 7 years ago, but I don't know how many on my resume I should include based on, my current position right now. I've been in it about 5 years, but before I was a manager. So are you guys looking just to, have the leadership? Because currently in my role, I'm a delivery representative for a bank.
Okay.
But what I do, I also, lead team meetings and what have you. So is that something that I should just be including maybe in the statement of purpose letter, curtailing that kind of role that I currently have?
So we would prefer for you to include it in the resume, so it's more concise. Now, in your case, it sounds like your current role might already include that leadership experience. But if you feel that your previous role also applied, it doesn't have to be, everything you've had for the past 7 years. But if you feel that leadership experience from the past applies, I would add it to your resume as well, rather than your statement of purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And I see in the chat, I also see another question that says, how far back in our work history should we go? So whatever you feel applies. So that I've seen students who included the last 20 years because it's applicable to the leadership role. But if you don't feel you have to go that far back, typically, the past 5 years is okay. Again, I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination and determining, what applies to a leadership role. If you don't feel that it's a leadership role or that it's, a professional experience, you can exclude it. I'll leave it up to your discretion. Thank you for those questions. Now we'll talk about the different degrees that we have. We mentioned before that we have 3 different degree options. They're all MBA degrees, just different options in terms of what your diploma would read and sometimes also the modality. So our traditional MBA is between 36 to 42 units, so 12 to 14 courses depending on the concentration that you're selecting. And the traditional MBA, like I mentioned, does include a concentration, but it is only offered in a hybrid modality. There's kind of like Melis' experience. She's pursuing our traditional MBA at least 1 to 2 times a week. She has on-campus classes that start 5:30 or later, but she also has some fully online courses as well. We have the Executives MBA for students who already have the 2 years of leadership experience. This program is 30 units, 10 courses, so it doesn't include a concentration. That's why it's shorter. And we have this option in both hybrid modality and also fully online. I'll give Maggie an opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the fully online executives modality. Do you mind joining? Oh, go ahead, Maggie.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Maggie. I'm the student advisor for the fully online executive program. So if you have questions as far as admission, submitting application status, I would be your advisor. So as far as the online executive piece, before applying, the biggest thing, as Jessica had mentioned, is that there are 2 years of professional leadership experience required. And the way you would suffice that is by sending us a resume. I'm going to submit on the chat my email. You can email it to me directly or the MBA online at CSUSB email. Once we give you the green light for eligibility to apply, then you can go ahead and submit your application. Few things, program, yes, is completely fully online and it is asynchronous. So there are no scheduled lectures that you would need to attend. There's a little bit slight difference as far as the way the classes are structured. So you would be taking about 2 classes per semester. Each semester has 2 sessions, and in each session you'll have 1 class. So it's structured a little bit different than the traditional side of the MBA program. But outside of that, please let me know if you have any questions as far as admissions go. The biggest piece here is just to suffice the 2 years of leadership experience before actually applying to the program, just to make sure that you're eligible. But congratulations on taking the next step and getting more information about pursuing your master's degree. But I'll hand it back off to Jessica, and I'll be putting my information in the chat. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Maggie. Yes, and thank you, Maggie, for reminding me about the resume process. If you are really interested in our MBA for executives, the fully online or the hybrid, and you're not sure whether you meet the leadership experience, you can send your resume before applying. That way we can review it and make sure you're a good fit for the MBA for Executives. We can do that as well. And back to Maggie's point regarding the modality of the program, our hybrid options are on a semester basis, meaning they're about 15, 16 weeks long semesters. Most students who work full-time take between 2 to 3 classes each semester, whereas the fully online MBA for Executives, the courses are broken down into 5 to 6 week sessions. So you only take one course at a time, but you're moving really quickly through those courses. I'll take a quick pause here in case you have any questions about the differences in the program.
I just wanted to add just very briefly, if you are interested in the MBA online program, please feel free to either email me, or if you could put on the chat your name and your email so I can be in touch with you and send you all the information that we discussed.
And then we'll discuss, these are the MBA concentrations if you're pursuing our MBA for Executive, our traditional MBA, which comes with the concentration. You'll be able to select one of these concentrations. We have accounting and internal auditing, our cybersecurity, which is 14 classes because it's STEM designated. We also have a entrepreneurship concentration, finance, HR management, hospitality management, just management, marketing management, global supply chain management. We'll soon be adding a business and data analytics concentration as well. Or you can also do an interdisciplinary, where this option is a good option for students who don't necessarily have want to select a specific concentration, so you can select from different options. And like Malice was saying, you can also do dual concentrations. Of course, it's a couple more courses if you select a dual concentration, but those both concentrations would be added to your diploma. Okay. All right. So, okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone, for putting your contact information. I'm assuming all those putting your email is because you're interested in our fully online, correct?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. All right, perfect. Thank you all. I'm going to move on to the cost breakdown for each of the programs, so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. So our traditional MBA program, assuming you're taking 3 classes per semester because you're charged per semester, the total cost for California resident would be closer to $37,814, or around $44,000 roughly for students pursuing the cybersecurity concentration, because it's a longer concentration. For non-resident or international students taking like I said, 3 classes per semester, it's roughly about $53,000 to $61,000 total. So this includes the entire program. Okay. For our MBA executives on campus, students who are California residents taking at least, or on average, 3 classes per semester, it's roughly about $30,000. And for non-residents, it's about $43,000 roughly. And then our fully online program has a set cost of $33,000 because you're not charged per semester rather than per unit. So let you guys take a look at that and I'll answer some questions. Rudy, you had a question?
Hi, yes. I currently work for Riverside County.
Okay.
I was told that you guys have a partnership where you offer, I think it's about 15% off the tuition.
Yeah, I believe it's 10%. Maybe Maggie can confirm.
Hi, Rudy. Yes, for Riverside County, we offer a 10% tuition discount.
Okay.
That would be applied once you officially are admitted into the program, and then we kind of go over cost, but and then we verify your employment.
Okay.
So, but it is valid. It'll be 10%. Do you have any other questions on that?
No, thank you.
You're welcome, Rudy.
And if you're not sure whether we have, if you've heard of that, just to Rudy's point, we do have different partnerships with different employers. Maggie, I don't know if you happen to have the link with the different employer partnerships we have. If you don't, and you're not sure whether your employer is partnered with us, you can reach out to us. Now, this applies specifically to the fully online program only, because the partnership is the fully online program. Now, for those students who are pursuing the traditional or the on-campus programs, there are financial aid opportunities available for everyone. So if you're seeking financial aid, we encourage all our students to apply for FAFSA, which is the financial aid application. And the FAFSA application will make you, is the application for student loans and grants. Now, grants are need-based, and it only applies for the on-campus programs. And what I mean with need-based is the Department of Education will take into consideration your income and your household size to determine whether you qualify for free money. And from experience, most graduate students don't usually qualify for grants. If you're seeking financial aid, most students would qualify for financial aid loans, which will help you, pay the tuition up front, but then has to be paid back eventually. But like I said, the state university grant or the graduate business grant may be available to you if you meet the need requirement. And that's assessed through your FAFSA application. We also have graduate assistantship opportunities, kind of like Melis was saying, that she's an international student and she works currently part-time in our MBA office as well. And then I always also encourage students to seek private scholarships. So the way scholarships work is you have to search for the scholarships that apply to you. So it is going to be a lot more work because each scholarship requires its own application. And just because you apply to a specific scholarship doesn't necessarily mean you're going to receive it, because there could be 50 applicants for one scholarship only. But ultimately, most scholarships is free money that you could potentially get. Another thing I always encourage students to do is talk to your employer to see if they offer tuition reimbursement. Even if they can't help fund all your tuition, hopefully they can help with some of your tuition payments. Rudy, I saw you raised your hand. Did you have another question or was that an accident?
No, I had a question. You
Okay.
mentioned something about part-time, like working with your guys' admissions to help pay off tuition. How does that work?
Yeah, so each semester we open up what we call graduate assistantship opportunities, so different positions throughout campus, not just within our office, but throughout the entire campus. And students who've completed at least one semester will have the opportunity to apply to those assistantship opportunities on campus. That's either with different departments, sometimes with faculty. It just depends on the specific role. Towards the end, I'll look up for the link for more information on different graduate assistantship opportunities. But like I said, that's typically after you've started your first semester.
Okay.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Yes. What are the deadlines when it comes to the FAFSA? Say we're going to do a fall admission, for example.
Okay. Yeah, so since we don't have the California grant, which is the state grant, we'll accept the FAFSA application year round, preferably, of course, before you start the program. So let's say you're looking to start in August, the application, and August 2025, the application's actually open now for fall of next year. But I would encourage for you to apply once you've filed your taxes next year, because the Department of Education will go off of your income for this year to determine if you qualify for any free money for next year. So I guess to answer your question, the application is open now. and it'll be available up until you start the program.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then following the necessity, because I know you said it's going to probably offer you more like loan style. If you do based off of your necessity, they're going to let you know and you can just go in and approve it as you go.
Yes. So
Okay.
what happens is at the time of you submitting the application, it'll give you what we call, or the Department of Education calls it, EFC number, expected family contribution. The lower the EFC number is, the more it's possibly the more grants you're going to get. So let's say some students have an EFC of 0. Those are the students that are probably going to get the maximum number of grants if you qualify for those. If that makes sense. And again, this is only for our on-campus classes, programs. So at the time of your application, you'll get an idea or an estimate of what your contribution might be. And then once you're actually in our program and you're scheduled for classes, our financial aid department would give you also an award letter letting you know, okay, this is what you qualified for in loans, this is what you qualified in grants. What do you want to accept, or are you going to be paying out of pocket? And then kind of you can make the determination off of that. And just so you know, typically the loans alone are enough to pay for the tuition costs. So we've seen students who fund the entire program just based on loans. But of course, those who qualify for grants as well, you might have, you may be able to borrow less instead of the full amount of the cost.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Jessica.
Yes.
I read that the deadline was sometime in December, mid-December.
For graduate assistantships?
No, I thought for the program itself.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the deadlines. We are currently accepting applications for spring. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Our priority application deadline is December 1st, but it'll be available up until January 6th, actually.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out how would that work if I wanted to get in spring with financial aid, being able to get cleared, and like for me, example, I know I'm not going to get financial aid. I know
Okay.
I just won't. So I'm going to have to be taking out loans, but I also want to get into the program in the spring coming up.
Okay. In that case, that's why our priority deadline is December 1st. You definitely want to apply sooner than later, because what happens around this time of the year is we're closed for quite a long period. Like, for example, next week we'll be closed for Thanksgiving holiday, and then towards the end of the year we close for the holidays almost 2 weeks. So during that time, your financial aid is not processed. Now, let's say you apply today or this week. Let's make that a scenario. Worst case scenario, if your financial aid is not fully processed by January 17th, which is when we're starting our program, then you don't have to pay for tuition up front. You just need to be communicating with us and make sure that your financial aid application's on file and everything's up to date, just to give our financial aid department enough time to process it. You might have to pay for textbooks or school supplies out of pocket initially while your financial aid is processed, but typically they'll allow you to start classes as long as their financial aid application on file and everything is kind of set for disbursement to occur.
Okay.
Thank you for all these good questions. Anything else you can think of? Okay. I don't see any questions, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about to Melissa's point about what the
I
program
had a
entails.
question.
Okay, what was your question? Ruby?
So Ruby here. For me, it was say that we do choose to do the online or all online, and for whatever reason, I feel like I may need that extra assistance in one of the courses and I want to do it in person. How far in the program am I able to, if I'm able to transfer or change it to the hybrid, if that's doable?
Okay, yeah, so the curriculum is actually the same for both programs. For the most part, we've seen it happen before where, especially if you're you're doing our MBA for executives fully online and you want to switch to the on-campus or hybrid, the curriculum's the same. However, you have to officially report which modality you're going to be pursuing, because the format's different. So, for example, let's say you're doing an online class and you did your first session, you can't just switch the second session because we're in the on-campus is on a semester basis. So it has to be at the end of the semester, but you can do it up until the end. We've seen students who even do it, in the last semester. Once you start your program, and this can be, if you start on campus and then want to go online or vice versa, you'll be able to gauge based on your first semester whether you think it's feasible for you to maintain the program. That's what I usually tell students. Within the first semester, you'll probably be able to gauge how much you think you can take on.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I was just mentioning there's going to be different opportunities for you to become engaged, even if you're fully online or if you're one of our on-campus students. You'll have the opportunity to become engaged. We have mandatory new student orientation for all our students, and that occurs via Zoom. For students who are applying for a spring semester, for example, we have a new student orientation on January 9th in the evening via Zoom, where you'll be introduced to DeLorean West, who's the academic advisor, and he'll be detailing the curriculum and how class registration happens. We have our Passport Leadership Program where we encourage students to attend different events throughout the year, both on campus, sometimes online. And again, to encourage for you to become engaged. And in return, if you attend a minimum of number of events, you'll get a leadership award at the end of the academic year. We also have our Student Ambassadors Program, where we select a handful of students to represent the student body and provide students like you an insight of what it is to be a student. So Melis is one of our student ambassadors, and I'll share our student ambassador information in a little bit in case you want to contact any of them. And then we have also Coyote Network for those students who are interested in becoming networking with students currently in our program. So it's kind of like LinkedIn, but for internal students and alumni. And we have different resources also just to make sure that you're successful in our program. We have our Students with Disabilities services for students who need accommodations in the classes. We have our Rec and Wellness Center, which is a gym. Counseling services, our Veteran Success Center in case you have any military benefits you want to utilize. Our Career Center, who will host different career fairs, internship fairs throughout the year. An on-campus graduate success center. So it's a on-campus center dedicated or designated specifically for graduate students who have they have a computer lab, a kitchenette. We often see students who come directly from work. Our classes start at 5:30 or later. So if you need a place specifically for you, we have that on campus. Different sporting events, a study abroad course, and we also have Overshaw Den, which is a center on campus where we help students who are struggling with basic needs like shelter, food, clothing. So just to give you a rundown. Let me see if I have questions. Okay, Ruby, I have a question. How far in okay, I think I answered that. And Adrienne, I'm working on the DR. Do you suggest bringing this up? Yes, I do. I think DR is the Department of Rehab. If you're utilizing benefits and you want to make sure those are applied before, you actually start the program, it's always a good idea to connect with our Veteran Success Center, since they're the specialists in helping you maximize your benefits. I'm not too familiar. That's why if you want, I'll send you their contact information in a little bit, Brian, it doesn't hurt to just connect with them before you apply, just to make sure everything's in order. But thank you for bringing that up.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll provide you with their contact information in a bit. I also wanted to encourage you all, if you haven't already, visit our website. This is going to be a good resource not only for students currently in the program, or sorry, applying to the program, because it has a lot of information about admissions, tuition, but also if you're a current student, it'll have all the program information, the curriculum, and forms, course information, and also information on how to schedule appointments with us. And then going back quickly to the deadlines, like I mentioned, we are currently accepting applications for spring 2025, which starts January 2025. The priority deadline is December 1st, but the application is available until January 6th. We are also accepting applications for fall 2025, which would begin August 2025. And that will go through July 1st of next year. We encourage for you to apply once you, for example, if you're still working on your bachelor's degree, wait until you've completed your bachelor's degree and then apply to our program. And then for the fully online MBA, there's 2 sessions you can apply. You can apply for session 1, which starts in January 2025, or for session 2, which starts in March 2025. So you have those options. The deadline for session 2, Maggie, do you have that right that you can remember?
For the spring?
Yes.
Let me just pull it up real briefly. So deadline to apply for session 1 for online is January 6, 2025. Session 2 for spring is February 27th, 2025.
Perfect. Thank you. So just in case you missed that, that first session, you can still start for
Apply
the
for the
online
second
one.
one.
Thank you so much. For those of you who are on social media, just know that we are on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. If you want to add us, we'll post a recording of this information session on our YouTube page. And then even if you become a student, we'll be posting relevant information for prospective and current students on our platforms. So like I said, follow us if you don't already. And then if you feel you need help with the application itself, or if you have questions about your specific application, you can scan the QR code and it'll lead you to our scheduling page specifically for me. But Maggie provided you her contact information as well. So I'll leave this for you guys to review. And while you do that, I'm gonna look for the information on our student ambassadors and all that stuff. While you do that, any questions, anything else I didn't cover? And Rudy, you had asked me about something and I totally forgot. I said I was going to put it at the end. Can you remind me?
I think it was the deadlines. And then you clarified that already.
Okay. All right. And then I'll put our veteran success center information in the chat as well. I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting, but if you have questions, let me know directly. I'll include my contact information in a little bit too.
One more question, Jessica. Hi.
Hi.
Just wanted to ask you, is it a disadvantage of doing the online program? Like, I know that the normal program will have like an emphasis on entrepreneurship. What do you think about the differences?
It really depends on what you're hoping to utilize your degree for. If you feel the entrepreneurship is, of course, a really good option for those students who want to open up their own business, because it gives you, additional information on business plans, grants, information, all that good stuff. However, it is a few more courses. What some students even do, they'll start with the fully online, and if towards the end, before you graduate, if you feel you really want to do that entrepreneurship concentration towards the end, change your concentration, or add the concentration, I should say, but probably those courses are going to be on campus. Now, in your scenario, like I said, if you decide to start online, communicate with DeLauren, who's going to be your academic advisor, and say, you know what, I'm fully online, but I'm really thinking, or I haven't decided if I'm going to pursue the entrepreneurship program or the concentration. When should I know that by? Because you don't have to come in knowing exactly what you're going to do, especially if fully online works best for you. You can start fully online because the initial part of the program is pretty much the same for everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, great question. All right, so I put in the contact information for our Red and Success Center and also our MBA office in case you have any specific questions. And I just remembered I was going to provide you, Rudy, information on graduate assistantships. Let me put that in the chat as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions anyone?
I have a question. I don't know if I missed it, and it was said at the beginning because I joined a little bit late. For the online executive program, how long is it? I know it's 10 classes, but is it like a year and a half, or how long is it?
Good question. So we didn't cover that, so I'm glad you asked. So the fully online MBA for executives, on average, most students finish in about 2 years. We've seen students completed in as little as 18 months, just depending on how many classes you think you can take on. So for the fully online program, like we mentioned, you take one course at a time. Each course is only 6 weeks or sometimes 5 weeks long. So it's very accelerated. Everything you normally cover in 15 weeks, you cover in 5 or 6 weeks. But the beauty is that you only focus on one subject at a time. Now, students who maybe don't work full time or have a little bit more time in their hands, after your first semester, if you feel you can take on more, you can inquire with DeLauren and say, hey, I feel I can take on more. Can I double up on, certain semesters or certain sessions? And he'll approve it and recommend classes to take if you feel you can take that on. So like I said, most students finish within 2 years, but we've seen students who graduate in 18 months.
Thank you.
And for the on-campus classes or the on-campus program, most students finish within 2.5 years. Just to give you an idea of the length, we've also seen students finish quicker. Or you can go at your own pace. So for example, if you're only able to take on one class each semester, you can do that. As long as you finish the program within 7 years, you can, take your time in completing the program if you need a slower pace as well. What is the acceptance rate on the applications? Good question. So if you meet the minimum qualifications for our program, you're guaranteed admission into the program because we're not an impacted program. So I hope that helps. So as long as you meet the minimum requirements, we can guarantee you admission to the program. That's also one of the benefits that we're not impacted. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for meeting with us today. We look forward to hearing from you. If you need help with the application or anything, please reach out to us. And we look forward to working with you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.